A lot of title matches tonight. MJF tried for the TNT title against Kevin Knight. Brody King, went to war with Darby Allin. Kazuchika Okada defended his international championship against your boy Ace Austin. And the women tag teams titles were on the line. So a lot to get to. Let's get it started because we're already running late.
Sorry.
Uh-oh.
Yes, boy!
French toast is the exchange student that you have like a 3-week affair with.
Hey, we can see that you don't have pants on.
Somebody hit somebody with a pie. Do something.
Giovanni yelling we're out of time as we go off the air.
Giovanni yelling a lot of things tonight.
And welcome to the Mark It Down podcast.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Mark It Down podcast. My name is Nick Cummings, joined this week by James Sasanti, back here once again to review another episode of AEW Dynamite. We apologize for being late. We had some technical difficulties getting up online, but we're here. We made it, and we are here to review the show as we quickly say hello to Maria.
What's up, Maria? How you doing?
Right on time, because we weren't.
We appreciate you. You're the glue keeping this all going.
Yes, you are. We're going to start at the top of the show, which had Kevin Knight defend his TNT Championship against MJF. Now, James, to start, very interesting tidbit here from commentary as Knight was making his entrance. He is the first person to capture 3 championships in a calendar year in AEW.
Kevin
Now,
Knight?
yes,
Nuts. Yeah.
I'm assuming they mean the trios twice and the TNT Championship.
Yeah.
They didn't say 3 different. They just said 3 championships.
Yeah.
So he's the first one.
Wow.
And I thought that was, a testament of how much they are pushing this kid, this last, 6 months or so. It got even better for Kevin Knight.
Oh, yeah. Yes,
So,
it did.
To get into the match here, a big turning point was Knight's knee buckled, when he tried to land a backflip after MJF pushed him off of the top rope. Obviously, MJF took quick advantage of that, went after it early and often throughout the match. A lot of single leg Boston crabs, a lot of, just him punching the knee, dragon screw leg whips, and the sort. A little bit later, though, Knight was able to counter a Panama Sunrise with a thrust kick, and then he climbed the ropes to hit a UFO splash, but Knight couldn't make the cover quickly enough, and MJF kicked out.
I also love just a small little detail. I love that he just flopped his arm over him. He was really selling how much energy he was pushing into this match.
Yep. And how much energy, as we say hello to Fernando, he was exerting to get around on basically one leg.
Yep.
However, though, MJF was still able to take quite a bit of advantage. And eventually, MJF had such an advantage, he started going for some very cocky covers with the knee, with the foot, standing over Knight. And Knight began eventually kicking out at 1.
Yeah.
This pissed off MJF, so he rolled out of the ring and went and grabbed the TNT Championship. Obviously, referee Bryce Remsburg saw him do this. So when MJF got back into the ring, Remsburg took the title and leaned out of the ring to hand it to Justin Roberts. I think we all know where this is going because MJF went into his trunks and grabbed the Dynamite Diamond ring. But he took so much time putting it on and flaunting it that when he turned around, Knight hit him with a low blow a la Darby Allin.
Yep.
Knight then rolled up MJF.
No. A la MJF.
Fair.
A la MJF.
Very fair. Knight then rolled up MJF and kept him down for the 3 count to retain his TNT Championship.
Fun match.
Yeah, do you want to get into the match for the rest of the...
Yeah, let's get... Because the match itself should be talked about.
Yes, and I agree because, as mentioned, they're really pushing Knight, having him be the first person to win 3 different championships in a calendar year. He's got that notch, and now he's got a win over MJF. Was it clean? No, but it's still a win over MJF for a young guy who's really coming into his own. That is a big, big deal.
No, absolutely. I think the whole night kind of showed how fresh AEW feels right now in terms of what talent is going after what, who is facing who, and who's on the rise. There have been a lot of reports this week. I don't know if you've seen any of them or read any of them. Kevin Knight is a top priority for AEW, apparently. SRS said this. I think Tony Khan kind of said this himself at one point. They are putting a lot of eggs in the Kevin Knight basket, and I think he is. I think he's carrying those eggs very, very well so far. I think he's managing himself very well. I enjoyed the matchup quite a bit. Like I said, I like little details in a match where you see a guy is throwing everything he can at someone just because he knows he has to, otherwise he's not going to win. Knight literally just throwing his arm over MJF for that pin after the UFO splash. Amazing detail, because arguably, let's say he had a little bit more energy and he was able to cover him properly, maybe he would have pinned him. So either way, I thought this was a really fun bit. I like that MJF feels dominant still, though. Like, I don't want to say he was controlling the entire matchup, because I don't think that's the case, but he looked strong throughout the matchup. And arguably, if he's not cheating, he might not be losing these matches. Like, who knows what would have happened with Knight if he didn't have the whole belt and ring thing. Because of all that, it opened up for Knight to cheat himself and get the win. So it's a really interesting thing that they're doing with him. Like, they're clearly keeping him heel. I don't think this is the type of thing that he's going to learn a lesson or anything.
Yeah.
Be past that with him. But it's a really intriguing avenue to go with him, because maybe he does try to stop cheating. Still be a dick, still be a scumbag, but maybe he's going to try to do things legit because he's realizing he's losing because of it. We'll see. We'll see. Knight looks great here. There's a part of me that's surprised this was how it went. There was a part of me that really thought MJF was walking out with the TNT title tonight. They were starting to show with this, meaning they were as many odds on this as possible. An MJF title win would be big, even if it is the TNT title. And I'm kind of surprised they didn't. I'm kind of glad that they didn't, because this is a big win for Knight. A big win. We talked about this reference to Tommaso Ciampa these last couple weeks, that I know this guy could hang with main eventers, and we're being told he's a main event guy. I need to see him beat main eventers to believe that he's a main eventer. And Knight just beat one of the biggest main eventers in the company. So I think this is a huge, huge moment for him. I think this is right now on the list of career wins for the kid.
Oh, most definitely. I would say it's his biggest career win. I mean, I guess you could argue maybe winning the TNT title or one of the trios title reigns, but in terms of star power, star quality of who he beat, yeah, I think this is probably his biggest win. Because technically, if he didn't pin anybody, or he did pin somebody for the Casino Gauntlet, but it was a group of people. Anybody could have won that. This was a one-on-one match, and he beat one of the best wrestlers in the world, one of the top 5 guys in the company. On the other side of things, I really like what you were talking about with MJF, because he is one of the top 5 guys in the company. He's a guy who could win straight up all the time if he really wanted to, but he's always taking the shortcuts. And it's funny to me because it kind of harkens back to what Kenny said before their match. I know all your tricks, Max. And did Kenny end up losing because I guess he didn't know all of them? Yeah, you can make an argument for that. But it seems now that everyone's almost wise to what MJF is doing. They know he's going to distract the referee in some way or get some sort of ref bump in order for him to pull out the Dynamite Diamond ring or hit a low blow or whatever it may be. He's going to cheat in some way, shape, or form. And as the old saying goes, turnabout is fair play, especially in wrestling. So I agree with you. I don't know if they're going to turn him face but he could end up in a position where if he doesn't start playing clean, he's going to keep losing dirty.
It reminds me of somebody who he does have a little bit of a history with. It reminds me of William Regal back in the day. Regal always using those infamous brass knucks, always using them to get wins. And oftentimes we would see, like later on, wrestlers would get wise to it. I remember...
No, the best one's the Big Show one.
The Big
when
Show
he knocks
one is
the Big Show
hilarious.
out. And the Big Show hits the ropes and he falls back on Regal and pins him because Regal can't move the Big Show. That's by far the best one.
I you know, and I'm sorry you're not feeling well. This one's for you, pal. A funny one, a great one, is Spike Dudley. Spike Dudley, Regal is defending the European Championship against Spike. He has the brass knucks get taken away before the match starts by the referee. And then Spike runs down, like sprints to the ring while the ref is like looking and dealing with those brass knucks. And then he knows that Regal planted another set in the turnbuckle. He runs, grabs it, wallops Regal, and then just pins him in like 3 seconds. So it's like, but all that, as fun as that is, that's my point. We are about to hit what, year 6 of AEW?
I think we're nearing year 7. Actually.
Year 7. Oh my God. We have been doing this game for too long with MJF for these baby faces to not wise up. So again, I'm not saying I want him to be a baby face, but I would love for him to evolve his heel game. I think it'd be a really fascinating thing to watch. How can I come up with better ways to cheat?
Yeah, or not even better ways to cheat. Maybe just, just being the best MJF he can possibly be, which is just a dominant heel. Somebody that you can't beat straight up. You can't even beat him cheating. That's how good he is, because he is better than you. And we all know it. And that's what he should be. But he always takes the shortcut because that's how he would rather do it. And because he's incredibly insecure. If we had an MJF who was more secure in his abilities and just went out there and kicked everyone's ass and won all the time, almost more like Moxley, for example, then MJF being that dominant would be an amazing transformation.
I'm inclined to agree.
All right, let's do comments and then we'll get into the shenanigans.
Yes, let's do it.
So Fernando said Dynamite was very mid with the exception of the beginning and the end.
I'm going to disagree a little bit, and I see Maria agrees with that sentiment.
Yeah, this was a good match, but the rest of the show was disappointing. I will disagree
that really
as well.
works for me.
I didn't think a lot happened in terms of like big flashy moments like we've gotten the last couple of weeks, but I thought the wrestling was very good tonight, and we got some decent story progression. Fernando's still upset about the main event. Brody should have won, but we're still stuck with Mr. Hot Topic.
Wait. Are we going to pretend that Brody wouldn't be Mr. Hot Topic too?
And realistically, the Bucks are Mr. Hot Topic because they had shirts there. They were the guys with shirts there. And Kenny, too. And Hanger.
Funny. We have fun here, guys.
Yep. Fernando also saying Kevin Knight needs to turn on Speedball ASAP. Let's get this heel run going. I think it's going to happen.
Yeah. He's going to have a huge chip on his shoulder after this win.
I was very concerned. I don't think chip on his shoulder. I think he's going to have an inflated ego after this win. I was very concerned when I saw Knight tweak the knee because I really didn't know which way they were going in terms of who was winning this. Yeah. And I was like, oh man, is Speedball going to come in and throw in the towel? And like that pisses Knight off. Is like, were we doing one of those things? And I'm glad we didn't. I feel like that's been played a little bit too much. I mean, in my head, I'm just like, they just did that with Soul and Zarya. Like, we're going to do it again. But so I'm a little glad that they didn't.
Yeah.
Fernando also saying, hopefully Tony doesn't do a kayfabe injury right after this and bench Knight until we forget Kevin beat MJF. Doesn't sound like we're going to.
Yeah.
He actually has a match on Collision for the title again, which I think is insane.
Yeah.
But I guess they're setting up the whole knee thing for Darby.
Yeah. At the very least, Knight pushing himself too hard, defending the TNT title. unprepared for the AEW World Title next week.
Yeah. Fernando saying a babyface MJF, is a bad idea. And
Yeah,
Maria,
at this point, I agree. At
Maria
this
saying,
moment, I agree.
yes, I concur as well. Stop trying to ruin MJF. He's perfect the way he is. You're not wrong.
He lost 2 in a row.
Yeah. And I don't think Maria's wrong. Like, his character is perfect. It's just, at some point, a slight evolution. It doesn't have to be a big change, but some small tweaks here or there keeps characters fresh.
I'm going to ask you a crazy question. Is this the first time MJF has lost 2 matches in a row?
Ooh, that is a great question.
I'm going to look it up right now. I'm going to look it up on Cage Match, but I think it's possible.
All right, as you do that, I will go into the shenanigans that happened after Knight's win. So he was getting his hands raised by the official, and MJF was in the corner and just super pissed off and holding on to his huevos. And then he decided that he was going to cheap shot the Jet, so he ran in from behind and chop blocked the bad knee. Knight then retreated into the corner, announce desk side, and MJF just started yelling at him, and he was trying to decide how he was going to attack him. And as he was doing so, Darby Allin rappelled in from the rafters.
Oof.
He landed, he removes the hook, jumps into the ring, grabs MJF from behind, sets him up, and after a little bit of Sting-like showmanship, drops him with the Scorpion Death Drop. MJF then retreats quickly out of the ring and up the ramp where he somehow gets a mic. And then says Darby and Knight are 2 peas in a pod, calling them low-life cheaters. He says that match didn't count because he wasn't even trying, saying the only thing he cares about is his Triple B, and he once again demands his rematch from Darby. Darby once again tells him no, saying again that he won't give MJF his title match until Max puts up something in return. However, Darby thinks he knows who he's going to face next week if he survives Brody King, and he turns and looks at the man in the corner and says, Kevin Knight. MJF then starts to go ballistic, but he gets interrupted by Brody King's music. And Brody comes down. He tells Darby that he's got some bad news. Wade. He's not going to survive the night. Brody's also got some bad news for Kevin Knight. He won't be facing Darby next week. He'll be facing the new AEW World Champion. And then we got a sick hype package for Brody after this.
All right. I'm doing a little bit of research here. So there are 2 asterisks here. The only time I see that he's lost 2 singles matches in a row were between 2 different companies. That he lost to Mark Briscoe in the Tables and Tax match in 2025, and he lost to Mystico in CMLL.
Oh.
So that's the one asterisk. The other asterisk is that he lost 2 in a row when he lost the ROH tag titles in a handicap match to the Devil's Masked Men. So Matt Taven and Mike Bennett.
Right.
And then lost to Samoa Joe at World's End. So even that, I'd say he lost a handicap match and then a one-on-one match. He's never lost, up until now, 2 singles matches in AEW back-to-back.
Wow.
That's pretty gigantic.
Yeah. And like you said, it's been almost 7 years now. It's the first time it's happened.
Wow.
And Knight's the guy who got that second dub. That is crazy huge.
Yep.
So good research there from the research department.
Right, thank you.
Elias Sports Bureau over there. Maria mentioning Ric Flair lost a few. Yeah, obviously. MJF is smart, and he talks about, his old school influences all the time from the territory days. And Flair, I think, is, chief among them. He knows when to lose, and he knows how to lose when he does, and how his loss will help put people over. He is, I always say, he's one of the smartest guys in wrestling. So you could be upset when he loses if you're an MJF fan, or you may not like when he loses because you disagree, but don't think that when he loses, it's for nothing.
Yeah.
He will be losing for a reason, to help build somebody or make somebody.
I know that, and I'm not trying to convince you guys otherwise at this point. I know that you guys are not thrilled with the Darby Allin World Championship reign, him winning in the first place, and that's fine. I respect
Some of you are, some of you aren't.
I don't think anybody in our comments is pro Darby,
Ah.
or at least pro Darby as world champion. But regardless, MJF doing that for Darby is a huge moment.
Yeah.
And it propels Darby very far.
Yeah. One that we knew was going to come back around at some point, and I think doing it where they did it in his hometown, made it that much bigger.
For the world championship.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it was always going to be for the world title. And now doing it for Knight, same thing. It's a huge deal for Knight. It's the first time he's lost back-to-back AEW singles matches. So, very, very big deal.
MJF the state of Washington.
Fernando is saying, they were technically in Virginia. Fernando is saying, do your own thing, Darby. Stop copying Sting. Stand on your own gimmick. I think he does. For the most part, he has borrowed things from Sting. Obviously, he uses the Scorpion Death Drop, he uses Scorpion Death Lock, and he uses the repel system. But I don't know what else to call it. He repels from the rafters.
The rafters, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like he was hanging out up in the rafters before Sting got there. So, like, that
was a Sting thing. That was a Sting thing. But like, he's been doing it for years at this point. It's his thing now, like it's not Sting's anymore.
Yeah, I don't know why I always thought he was always kind of up there.
I mean, you got to remember, Sting debuted in AEW in like what, 2020?
Late 2020, winter.
So
summer.
like, we're talking 6 years ago. So
yeah.
Of a 7-year company.
I could have swore he was doing it beforehand. Could be wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Sting gifted Darby those things. It's going to be one of those things where he's going to use them, but I don't think he's going to lean on them as a crutch, or at least I hope so. If he starts doing that, I will call him out on it. But at the moment, he uses them, but it's not.
And let's be realistic. Darby's had, just from a moveset standpoint, Darby's had the coffin drop, and what was it? Like, he has like the code red.
Yeah, and he uses the Last Supper pinning combination.
Yeah. So him having a dropping finisher or a dropping move like the Scorpion Death Drop is good. Him using the Scorpion Deathlock is good. He means he has every type of move you should have as a wrestler. He has a flying move, he has a submission move, he has a dropping move, and he has a pinning move. He's a well-rounded wrestler right now.
Yeah.
So I think it works.
Let's see. It's saying what MJF has to bring to the table to get a match with Darby Allin is lifting the Hangman ban on the challenging for the title.
See, I've seen that, and I've seen people suggest that. I'm
sure they said it a lot better than I just did.
I'm for it, but it raises too many questions for me. Why would Darby be like, yeah, I'll do this for Hangman? Like, they don't really have that relationship. Unless he wants to defend against Hangman.
Yeah.
But I think the other part of it that doesn't work for me, we haven't seen Hangman since he lost. So for him to come back and just be like, yeah, I could go for the title again, it means it was for nothing.
I would agree. I would say that the same thing popped into my head. Darby would want to face Hangman for the title, and that's why he gets the ban lifted. The only other thing I can think of is Darby being like, Hangman's just as good and loves AEW just as much as I do. Like, he deserves to be champion again, and doing it, quote unquote, for the good of AEW. But I still don't think that's really MJF's to give. Hangman said he would just give his word. So even if MJF agrees to let Hangman challenge for the title again, would Hangman be like, oh, I can just do it? Like, no, dude, like, you gave your word. MJF didn't give his.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. And the other thing is, I don't think Hangman's going to be back for a little while. They said he's taking some, not serious time off, but a decent chunk of time.
And to Fernando's point, we don't need Hangman right now. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. I miss him. I would love to see him on TV, but he doesn't really have a spot at the moment. And let's take a moment to acknowledge we're watching Dynamites without Kenny, without Hangman, and without the Bucks.
And without Swerve, who we'll talk about later, but he hasn't been an integral part of the show in weeks.
Yet they are, in my opinion, firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, and I think part of that is Darby having the title is allowing some, upper mid-card guys who are kind of bubbling at the surface to challenge now for the title and have, not star-making performances, but put them in a better position and make them look like, title contenders. Yeah. So I think that's helping. And I think part of the reason that's why Darby has the title right now is because they don't have all these guys, and it allows them to be in the position where, all right, let's do the fighting champion thing and allow all these guys to get title matches week in and week out to show off some of our other talent other than the same 6 or so guys that have been circling the championship since Hangman won it back at All In.
Yep.
I think it's a nice little mix-up. It's saying faces are dumb. That's why Darby would make that stipulation. It's a good point. And Fernando also saying MJF turned Punk into a star. You're welcome, WWE. Technically, Tony Khan does own the 2 companies that made CM Punk a star.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about the main event, which obviously we've mentioned quite a bit now. Is Darby Allin versus. This is twice I've done that.
You did the opposite though before.
I know.
Brody Allin before.
I'm still shook from trying to get this shit to work earlier.
That's
Darby
funny.
Allin, Brody King, AEW World Championship match. Another big fuck ice chant to start. Good job, Washington. Or Virginia, excuse me.
I said Washington before because Knight was from Washington and Darby.
I forgot he's from the area. So makes sense that he had this big defense here. I think about it, and because they were in Arlington, I was half expecting Hangman. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh,
just because he's from Virginia.
Yeah, I get it. I see it. I can see it.
I think that's why they go back there. It is Hangman country, and people show up there. But I think it's better he hasn't come back yet. Getting back into the match, at the very start of it, Brody had much of the momentum. Darby had, tried to fight back, but Brody's ginormous, and he was just, destroying Darby for a little bit. And then Brody set him up in that chair on the outside and went for the crossbody, but Darby chop blocked him as Brody was running at him, and he fell face first into the chair. Darby then took the chair, put it in front of the announce desk, seated Brody on top of it, and hit the crossbody as we headed into commercial. As we came back from commercial, we saw Kevin Knight watching the match from the stands. MJF was watching backstage, despite the fact he still doesn't have his title shot. Meanwhile, Brody was just destroying Darby, culminating in a choke slam on the apron. And then Brody went and cleared off the announce desk. King then picked Allin up, but Darby got him in a sleeper hold. So Brody just decided to put both of them through the announce desk cover that he had removed. They then fought over to the desk itself, battling back and forth until Brody briefly got in that hanging sleeper hold off the side of the desk.
I love that this was a match between friends, by the way.
Yeah.
Right.
The last few times they were, kayfabe enemies. Yeah. But now they're just, now they're friends.
Yep.
They're allies. I don't know if we're going to call them friends. Anyway, Darby somehow fought out of the sleeper hold and stunned King, and that allowed Darby to jump back up on the desk and hit a code red on it.
That was gnarly. Do you think we often say spots like that, it's worse when the table doesn't break, like it's going to hurt a little bit more. I feel like if the table had broken on this one, it would have actually been a worse bump.
Yeah, because they would have fell twice. Brody would have fell twice.
Yeah.
Because it would have been break and then the floor. And they have, for the most part, built up the AEW announce desk
as being solid.
Yeah, it's not going to break, especially because there's those few times where just when they were building it differently, it would just break.
Yeah.
And it looked really shitty because I think they rigged it so that it would break where the rest of the time it wouldn't. Yeah. And then it would just break early by accident. I think at this point, they're just like, no, this shit ain't breaking. It's solid oak. And if it does break, good God. You know? And I think that's smart because they clearly don't know how to build a giveaway table. Anyway, Brody tried to beat the 10 count. Darby Tope succeeded him, and then they eventually got back in the ring and kept fighting. Soon enough, they ended up in a corner where Darby headbutted Brody in the face, and Brody was like, "The fuck did you do to me?" He popped right up, took Darby, and just tossed him out of the ring onto a cameraman.
It was such a weird move to see happen. It felt like, in the best way, I'm saying this in the best way, it didn't feel like wrestling for a second. It felt like the fuck. It felt like Uncle Phil throwing Jazz out of the house.
Yeah, and thank God the camera guy was okay.
Yeah.
And Darby hitting the camera, that was a lot. I was surprised it went as cleanly as it did.
Yeah, thank God.
Brody then hopped out of the ring to chase after Darby and started dragging him across the floor. And as he was doing so, Darby tried to prevent it by grabbing onto the floor's padding. So as Brody pulled Darby back, the padding came with Darby, and that exposed the cement underneath the padding itself.
Now, kids, that's a useful tool that'll come in handy later.
So then Brody decided, all right, enough of this, picked Darby up and put him up against the barricade and went for a cannonball. Brody ran across, Darby moved out of the way, and Brody cannonballed right through the barricade onto the cement on the other side. Ow. So then Darby got back to the ring. Brody eventually got up onto the apron, and the two battled there in an attempt to put the other one and take the other one and throw them down onto the cement floor. And Darby ended up winning this battle by sliding through Brody's legs to the floor and then power bombing him onto the exposed concrete. Darby then went up to the second turnbuckle and hit a coffin drop onto Brody on the concrete and then rolled back into the ring.
Yep.
Brody again beat the 10 count, but Darby was there waiting for him, already perched up top. He hit a coffin drop, went up top, hit another one, and then hooked the leg and the head and pinned Brody for the win. And after the match, the two men shook hands, and then Darby climbed up into the corner, and he looked at Knight in the crowd. So, James, as Justin Roberts said after this match, this was a battle.
All right. You heard that. Okay. They don't do that, right? That's not something Roberts usually says.
It depends on, like, the match. I don't know if that's a call that gets made beforehand or something he just kind of does in the moment. But I've heard him make different calls depending on how the match has gone.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've heard battle specifically. I wouldn't be surprised if I had, but I thought it was a great use of it here.
Oh, I did too. It caught my ear in a way that I wasn't expecting. And obviously 9 times out of 10, that's a good thing. I really liked it. It made me question, have I just not been paying attention this whole time? And he says battle every time. But I thought that was really fun. The match itself, it surprised me because Darby and Brody went at it so, I don't want to say viciously, but so aggressively, so quickly. Basically right out the gate. Right from the handshake on, there was action. And I feel like within like the first 2 to 3 minutes, Darby hit that second rope or top rope code red.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't even mention that because it happened so early.
Yeah. And I was just like, holy shit, that in other matches, that ends the match. So I was like, wow, this isn't going to be a long one. And then it had good time. I wouldn't say it went like 20 something minutes, maybe.
Yeah, give or take.
So I was really, really pleasantly surprised with everything that they accomplished in this match. It takes a lot to suspend the disbelief. Oh my God, Darby Allin beat Brody King. Like, it takes a lot to get there. But they did such a great job, and I love what you did with the title for us for this episode. Darby Allin survived Brody King. And that's perfect because you don't want to invalidate Brody as this monstrous threat. You can't have him just get beaten by Darby. Darby has to pull out all the stops to hope to eke out a win. And that's what he did.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it, it took Darby 3 coffin drops, one of them to the outside on the concrete.
After a power bomb onto the concrete.
Yes, to pick up this W.
Yeah.
So, he had to throw everything he had at Brody King, mostly his entire body weight, in order to beat him. And I like that. And that is going to, I think, be the cornerstone of Darby's title reign, however long it goes. It's going to be him having to, overcome his size, or maybe next week, like the speed and hops deficit of Knight, depending on how his knee is. We'll see how that all works out. But it's just going to be Darby in, one battle after another, to borrow a phrase. And it's going to be fun. It's not going to be the longest title reign, I don't think, because of that.
I mean, commentary's making it clear it's not going to be a long title reign.
Yeah, but hey, like Darby said, he's going to do this till the wheels fall off, and I'm going to enjoy every step of the way until we get stuck on the side of the road.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I like different title reigns. I am a big fan of title reigns feeling different. It's something I'm not trying to compare to other places, but it's just a lot of title reigns in other companies all feel very copy and paste in terms of how the champion handles their reign. Heels act a certain way, baby faces act a certain way. That's it.
Yep.
We're seeing very different title reigns in AEW right now. And I think it makes the title feel so special. It makes it feel so sought after. It makes it feel so important. And I'm loving this. I'm loving this. He will have defended against Tommaso Ciampa, Brody King, and now Kevin Knight in a 3-week span. You could not find 3 opponents more different than Ciampa, King, and Knight. King and Knight, huh? Okay.
Bishop to Rook 4.
Yeah. But I'm loving this for this reign. I'm loving this for Darby. He's not going to have a long reign, guys. He's not. Don't be shocked if he drops it at Double or Nothing. I'm not saying expect it, but don't be shocked if he drops it at Double or Nothing. And if he does, he will still have had, at minimum, 3 title defenses.
And 4 matches, just to, do the math, because he had, the first one against MJF.
Yeah.
Well, however long his title reign goes, even if it does end at Double or Nothing, it's going to be, I think, well worth it, be a very good title reign. And oh man, I just pulled the Sugats and got hung up in the air there. I forgot my point C. But his name will be on the title, and he'll be a former world champion.
Yes.
And that's the important thing here,
Arguably the most important thing.
Yeah. So it'll all work out. But the stat I wanted to give, and the reason I just brought up the 4, was because I read the other day that this is only the 3rd time I think the title has been defended by a singular person in back-to-back Dynamites, and it's the first time somebody has had 3 AEW Championship matches on 3 consecutive Dynamites. So I think Moxley twice has defended the title on back-to-back Dynamites.
Wow.
Next week will be the first time it's been defended by the same person on 3 in a row.
Yeah.
It was something like that, but still,
that's huge. That's really cool. We're seeing a lot of firsts. It
shows the prestige of the title and how Tony wants to book it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it shows, how Darby wants his reign to go. And I think, like you said, it allows for different types of title reigns. Something we've got a lot of since Hangman dropped it. We had Hanger's title reign, which was, its own thing. Joe had a different type of title reign. MJF had a different type of title reign. And now Darby's having a different type of title reign.
I love every one of them. I loved Hank. And let's be clear. Let's give credit where credit's due. It really started with Mox, too, that he had a very unique title reign as well.
Yeah, it was incredibly long. And there was a lot of interference and whatever. And we never even saw the title for the entire time that he had it. So, that was probably, I think every title reign mostly in AEW has been fairly unique. You can argue MJF's was similar to the beginning of his first one, but by the end of it, it was completely different.
Oh, absolutely.
Title reign. How often do you see a champion go from heel to face during his title reign?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I was doing the numbers on this a couple of days ago. We have had 10 unique AEW world champions across 16, I think, reigns. Joe has won it multiple times. Mox has won it multiple times. MJF has won it multiple times. Hangman has won it multiple times, and Punk won it multiple times. So it's it's still important. It is still prestigious to win this world championship.
Yeah.
So I love it. I love it. I love it. Let's answer these two comments. Okay.
Yeah, I definitely wanted to hit Fernando's comment because he's saying Brody is a beast. The jetpack is on the wrong guy.
I mean, his name is the Jet, Kevin Knight. Guys, come on.
Well, I disagree with the latter half of that statement. Brody is indeed a beast, and let's be realistic here. He might not have, the same amount of fuel Darby does, but Tony has been. Yeah, Tony has been pushing Brody something fierce ever since, Brodito had the tag title reign, and then since then, he's been being pushed as a singles guy. So
let's be honest, like wins wise, yes, Brody has been pushed significantly since Malachi left.
Yes.
The moment the House of Black ended, there was that brief moment where they were trying to push the Hounds of Hell with Buddy, but then Buddy got hurt. Out the gate, right from there, it's been nonstop. He lost several matches in the beginning, but he has been used and booked consistently and consistently well. And again, we're comparing. Let's compare him to the guy who was the leader of that group. I don't think Malachi Black got a single title shot in his entire AEW run.
At least not for the
World
AEW title. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I meant. The guy is being booked beautifully. I too, I would love a singles title on him soon, but he is being booked fantastic.
And you can tell Tony likes him, and he's a guy he can trust. He got the Tony, the classic Tony Khan copy and paste run. It's the only thing Tony really copy and paste. It's, hey, I like you. I want to start pushing you. Let me get the crowd used to you. Put you in some big, high-profile spots. You're going to lose, but you're going to look really good, and then you'll start picking up wins and gaining momentum. And then, assuming the crowd is able to get behind you, then we'll, start pushing you towards, with the big title or one of the other, mid-card titles, and you'll end up winning that. And Brody got that in spades, and he will hang around at the top of the, near the top of the mid-card, or the lower, upper card.
Yeah.
And, if Tony ever wants to pull the trigger on him, no one's going to say anything.
Exactly. He's more than earned it. He's more than earned it.
I got the rest here. Let's see. Maria saying One Battle After Another was a great movie. I didn't see it, but I will trust your judgment.
You would like it. It's fucking weird in a good way.
Word.
Yeah.
Maria's all saying, come on, guys. We're not saying the AEW Championship reign during the Moxley Death Riders run was good. It was stupid.
Oh, yeah.
We are saying it was unique.
Yes. Yeah. I'm not here to attack it or defend it, although I was not a fan of it. It was different. And that's really the topic. We've seen a lot of different title reigns over the last 2 years.
Yeah. I have maintained post Copeland feud, or even that last match with Cope, it started getting a lot better, the Moxley title reign. But the first month of it, I was like, okay, let's see what this goes. Maybe the first 2 months, but there was a big chunk in the middle there where it was not very good.
Yeah.
Which sucks, because I like the Death Riders now a lot more.
I actually just read a very interesting thing about the Death Riders, but please remind me to talk about it when we get to the Death Rider segment later.
Definitely. And Fernando saying, you guys heard all the former members of the House of Black are begging Tony not to bring back that sorry-ass chump Aleister Black. Word on the street is it's
nobody in AEW wants it.
Yeah, most of the locker room.
It's
crazy, but
this is what I'll say. I don't want to, go too far on a tangent here, but it's something we should talk about. We didn't really discuss the releases from WWE. There's not much to say.
Yeah.
Never want to see anybody get fired ever. It sucks. I wish everybody who got released well. I hope all of them are able to land on their feet somewhere if they want to. As far as AEW dealing with these releases, I agree with the locker room. I don't think Black should come back. I think he's one of I'm not just saying this because I have a bias. I think he should go to TNA because I think he will be an instant main eventer there and will instantly go near the title.
Yeah, he'd be a huge fish in a small pond.
Yeah, Zelina already has a long history there when she was Rosita. So a lot you could do with those two there. As far as AEW with the releases, Motor City Machine Guns, Kairi Sane. That's it.
I know he's hurt. I wouldn't hate if Santos Escobar ended up in AEW.
Yes, I would take Santos as well.
He's got a heel. He needs some time. Other than that, yeah, it's Motor City Machine Guns and Kairi if she wants to stay in America. Apparently, she's already back home in Japan.
Apparently, that's why she left. The rumor I heard was that they let her contract end because she made it clear she wanted to go home. She wanted to go to Japan.
Yeah, that was a Meltzer report. I believe what you saw. So yeah, who knows? That could be something WWE's leaking or saying because they are seeing all the backlash online about Kairi being released. I mean, there was "We Want Kairi" chants apparently on Raw, and they muted those real fucking quick. Yeah. So maybe that could be something they say. It could be true. I don't know, but she's not with WWE anymore either way. So the best to her, whatever she wants to do, and the best to everyone, you said. But
yeah, absolutely.
Alba Fire as well for AEW.
I don't know who that is. I know
Kaylee Ray. Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently, she would kick Alba Fire's ass. I couldn't remember her Indian name.
And Maria here saying Joe Gacy would be a good for AEW. I could see it, but I think he would be better off with a little bit of an indie run where he kind of reboots himself a little bit. And then he takes that wherever he's going to go. That's me personally. I guess just to round it out, Bo Dallas retire.
If Bo goes anywhere, I would think it's probably TNA. I don't know where else he would go.
Yeah, Rowan. The only reason I would want to see Rowan in AEW is if they decide, and I guess I'll say this to Bo too, if they want to really reboot the Dark Order. And they just WWE couldn't make the Wyatt Six work. AEW can with the Dark Order. And you do it with Bo and Rowan. I could see that. And I'd be cool with that.
Fair.
Nikki Cross, if she decides to stay in the States, go to TNA. The Knockouts desperately need you. And Dexter Lumis should go back to TNA and be Samuel Shaw again. So, yeah. Those are the big ones, right? I don't think there were some NXT people as well, I think.
Yeah, off the top of my head, those are the
Andre Chase, start a school. I don't know.
He could probably have fun in TNA.
Yeah.
Really quick, Maria saying Triple H got an extension after release. Yep.
Right. Shocker.
Yeah. Let's see. Selena was a B word to SRS. He was just doing his job.
Nobody's wrong in that situation. She has every right to feel how she feels and be upset because it sucks. It does suck. But SRS was doing his job.
Yeah, you can be upset that you didn't get a chance to announce it yourself, but you can't be mad at the media for doing their job. And he said, so he's like, I wait until people know. I'm not like, it's not like in the NBA where dudes are finding out they're traded on fucking Twitter. Yeah, or from SportsCenter. So chill a little bit. How does Austin Theory continue to survive? He's a tag champ, so and I guess this is for you, James. Nikki versus Rosemary.
Yes. Bravo, Maria. Yes. By the way, met Rosemary WrestleMania weekend. That was a lot of fun. I met her and Allie the Bunny.
Ooh, love that.
Yeah.
I'm glad she's back.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, let's move along here. We're going to go back up top following the Night MJF match and that. Again, really cool Brody King video package. Yes, we had a backstage interview with Copeland Cage. So Renee started asking Christian how his broken arm is doing, and he's just like, it's fine.
Is it broken or is it fractured?
6 of one, half dozen of the other. Fractured is broken, broken is fractured.
Okay, fine. Okay, Dad, whatever.
Renee then asked them about FTR adding an I quit stipulation to the New York street fight, which technically does change it from a street fight to an I quit match, but I feel like I quit and street fight is slightly redundant. Anyway,
a New York I quit match.
Yeah, an I quit street fight is definitely redundant.
Yeah.
But before Cope can answer, Christian grabs the mic and immediately accepts the challenge.
Yeah.
Copeland says that response was a little quick considering Christian's history with I quit matches, and Christian says that he has told Cope and everyone else 1,000 times that he never said I quit, and then he walks away. And then Copeland just laughs at the fact that he totally did, and then he says Christian won't this time.
That was good. I love their dynamic. I know there are a lot of people who feel whatever they feel about Cope and Christian. Well, more Cope than Christian. I think their dynamic has been perfect. Perfect. Their segments are consistently highlights.
Yeah, no, they're always really funny because Copeland is just kind of playing. It's weird. Is Cope playing the straight man, or is
I really don't know? It's so hard to explain, but it works. They have perfect yin yang energy.
Yes,
they're just like totally balancing one another out.
Yeah, and you know, you're so used to the two of them being really goofy together. Only one of them being goofy is a new wrinkle to their relationship.
Yes.
And a good one at that.
Yeah.
Maria saying, you love Cope and Christian. I don't know if that was supposed to be an I or not, but let's just say we all do.
We all love Cope and Christian.
Following this, we had a pretty quick squash match between the Brawling Birds and Emily J and Jordan Blade.
They really love giving the Birds these squash matches.
Yeah, they're trying to keep them on TV. They're trying to build them up to eventually go for those women's tag titles, possibly even take them from Divine Dominion. But like I said, this ended real quick with 2 birds, 1 stone, which is the name for their heart attack, which is a phenomenal.
Great name.
I had to rewind it because I just heard 1 stone, and I was just like, "Is that a stone weight joke?" And I was like, "Wait a minute, I'm so confused." And then I watched it back. I was like, "Okay, that makes more sense."
Oh, they nailed it.
Yep. All right, and then we went backstage for a promo from 2/3 of the Triangle of Madness. So Tekla says that everyone keeps asking her why she keeps calling all of the women in the locker room dumb bitches. And she says she would love to stop calling them dumb bitches, but there are just too many dumb bitches in AEW for her to stop.
She is Shakespearean in her promo work. I adore this woman.
Considering it's not her first language, either.
Yeah, I will be the first to admit when I'm wrong. I had a slow start on her. I was not crazy about her out the gate. I think the term I used was a little overhyped. I would like to formally apologize because everything she does is incredible.
On behalf of a day one in AEW Tekla fan, I accept your apology.
No, thank you. I appreciate it.
Admittedly, I do kind of get it. She was always good in the ring from when she started, but she hasn't really started showing personality until this title reign, or maybe a little bit before that. And now that she's been able to do so, she's been hitting on all cylinders.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Back to the promo, though, after Tekla says everything she has to say about dumb bitches. Sky Blue then says that what happened to Persephone on Collision, she got misted, for those of you who missed it, was the fault of Alex and Jamie. But maybe getting misted in the face was the best thing that ever happened. Getting misted in the face was the best thing that ever happened to Sky. So maybe it'll open Persephone's eyes, too. Tekla then asked what happened to the birds, saying that it seems like they can't take care of one little toxic spider, and advises them to stick to their little tag team because of one-on-one, they are nothing and she is everything. And obviously,
this is all good.
Yeah, she delivered that much better than Fernando with the debate question of the century. Best team in the Attitude Era. Edge and Christian, Dudleys, or the Hardys? James is just going to pick the Hardys. It's not even worth trying to debate him.
All right. No. I'm going to speak to you from an objective level. Here. So the Hardys and Edge and Christian were the original feud. It started from the Hardys replacing Edge and Christian in the Brood when Edge and Christian became faces, and then the Hardys joined Gangrel. Don't know if you knew that.
I think I heard of it, but I thought it was fairly short-lived.
They had wrestled the first tag team ladder match, I think, in WWE. It was the Terry Invitational. It was for like $100,000 and Terry's managerial services.
Like Terry?
Yeah. Goldust's wife or ex-wife. So that feud is really the heart of it at first. Then the Dudleys came in, and then they got inserted in it. And then the Dudleys feuded with everybody. They feuded all together. That obviously led to the first ladder match at WrestleMania 2000, at WrestleMania 16, which was just a ladder match that I think Edge and Christian won.
Don't look at me.
And then TLC 1 and 2 also went to Edge and Christian. Now, again, Edge and Christian probably won the most matches in the triple feud, but this was apparently an edict back then for WWE. They did not feel the Hardys needed to win these matches because they felt they were so popular that they'd be okay without the titles. An awful concept as far as I'm concerned, but that was the deal. The Dudleys have the widest success rate that they won tag titles. I think they've won the most tag titles of all three of them, but I think in terms of longevity, the Hardys are the best of the three. So Edge and Christian have won all of the feuds for the most part. The Dudleys have the biggest trophy case. The Hardys have the longest resume. So, yeah.
And I feel like the Hardys have probably been tagging together the longest too, because in terms of, I feel like Edge and Christian were split up a lot. The Dudleys ended up kind of split up a bit, and especially Devon was able to do a lot of, not Devon, excuse me, Bubba was able to do a lot of solo stuff. The Hardys did do a bunch of solo stuff, but they always ended up coming back to each other at one point or another.
Arguably, as singles, the number one of them all is Edge. Number two probably goes to Jeff. 3 probably goes to Matt. 4, Christian. It's kind of a toss-up. I thought
it might have had Christian a little higher just because, in terms of, he was so important to TNA. I mean,
it's Christian over. So, higher. Matt carried TNA in the end, like in the 2010s. The Broken Hardy stuff legitimately gave them a second life, or I guess a third or fourth life.
I didn't even know though, I'd forgotten the Hardys were even in TNA until all that shit started happening and blowing up.
So it's an interesting, it's a great question, Fernando. I'm gonna go Hardys all the way, but I'd say it's more of a toss between the Dudleys and the Hardys. Edge and Christian were really only a team in WWE full-time for like 3 years. They got split up very early on, and then they just had a brief reunion at the end of WWE, of their WWE tenure together. And then AEW is obviously giving it a whole new life. But yeah, it's probably the Dudleys or the Hardys.
Yeah, Maria going with the Hardys in that one, just for that. Back to AEW, Fernando saying,
I'm sorry.
So good. Tekla is quickly becoming the second best AEW women's champ ever. She's amazing. Noticed the difference between her energy and what we were getting from Kris Statlander. And
I respect the shit out of you for not mentioning the Z's.
I didn't know how to just say it. Oh, spaghetti. I get what you're saying. As much as I love Statlander, and I thought she was putting on some great matches in her latest title reign, she was lacking a bit of, I'd say, energy and just outwardness during it, because she was, I guess she was kind of stoic, with the exception of when she was with Willow and Harley. Yeah. Then she showed a little more personality.
I'd say arguably the most important the title felt in her reign was when she defended against Tekla. Yeah. Because there were so many other stories going on with Stat that the title wasn't even necessary to her story. But I still do love Stat, but Tekla's reign absolutely lapped it.
Yeah, so far. At least, yeah, I was going to say at least this one. I was like, oh, wait, it's Stat's only reign, which is insane. But
all time, though, would you put her at number 2?
I would have to go look. I would have to go back and look. I mean, obviously, Tony's reign, you'd pick one of Tony's reigns. Yeah. It's probably the most recent one's number 1. And then, or I don't know, just if you want to count both sides of the Mariah May title reign as one title reign, that's number 1. And then, you know, you had Shida through the pandemic. She was carrying.
Yeah, Shida's big. Ooh, I might go Hater.
Hater had a really good one. I liked hers a lot. Brits wasn't bad.
Yeah, Brits was fine.
It's one of those ones I have to look through it. But it needs a little more longevity. But I see what you're saying, Fernando. Her attitude and the way she carries herself and the belt has been, and the matches she has put on, it's been great so far.
Big time.
All right, speaking of title matches, we have our next one, which was Kazuchika Okada facing off against James's boy Ace Austin for the AEW International Championship. I had that carny piece of shit Don Callis on commentary. Couple of notes here, or actually pretty much just the end. Austin had a great counter following a drop kick where he got picked out. He got picked out of midair by a drop kick, and then he ducked a Rainmaker and got Okada with a backslide and forced Okada to kick out at the very last second.
Smallest moment. I knew better, but that small moment of oh my god.
Austin then hit the ropes, but Okada caught him with a second drop kick and then followed it up with a tombstone pile driver and finished Austin off with the Rainmaker to retain his title. After the match, Okada and Mark Davis, who had come out, got some cheap shots in on Austin before Juice Robinson came out and pulled him away. And then as Okada was celebrating, Konosuke Takeshita came out onto the stage and he gestured towards Okada's championship before pointing at the Double or Nothing graphic up on the Tron. So, James, you called this a coming out party for Ace Austin, and so I will let you take it because I actually have those glasses and I'm going to go find them. Really.
Hell yeah. No, I've been a long-time Ace Austin fan. Just wanted to say what up in the comments. We'll get to you in a second. Yeah, I'm all for it. I'm all for that. I think this is a very interesting thing. We'll talk about it in a little bit, so stick with us.
That sounds like a baller match.
Yeah.
They're not the same ones, but they're actually these kind of look more like Fletchers now that I'm wearing them.
I mean, hey, it works for both of us here. I've been a long-time Ace Austin fan. I've loved his work in TNA. Inevitable Ace Austin is, I think, such it's such a great character when allowed to let loose. I know there are so many people who like to make this comparison. Oh, he's the next whoever. I've never felt someone feel like they could be a character-wise 90s era Shawn Michaels the way I feel Ace Austin can be.
Damn, that is high praise. And I know you're high on him, but that's still high praise.
At least character-wise. I'm not going to say reach the same heights. I'm not going to say is as good in the ring or anything because he's Shawn Michaels. But character-wise, I haven't felt a character radiate that energy the way heel Ace Austin can. All that said, I've known how good he is, and I've been waiting to see it in AEW. I know that he's mostly a collision cowboy. I know that the Bang Bang Gang in general are collision cowboys, but I've been waiting. What?
And banged up collision
banged
cowboys.
Up, yeah. But I've been waiting for him to show up on Dynamite, and this was amazing. I think the last big thing he had was at the pay-per-view, right? In the Battle Royal.
Yeah, I think he ended up eating the pin there, but he was really looking good, and then he just got caught by 3 different guys at once.
Yeah. So it's good to see him have this spot. Going against Kazuchika Okada, arguably the greatest wrestler in the world. Arguably. I knew he was going to bring it. I wasn't expecting him to bring it as well as he did. He showed his athleticism. He showed his resistance. He had that great handstand maneuver on the ringside, on the apron, when he countered Okada. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
That was such a great spot that led to a good little bit on the outside. I love his athleticism in doing that rope to rope kick that he hit to Okada. The second one led to the drop kick from Okada. So that was, again, great storytelling there. That quick pin that he got on Okada. I've said it to you guys before. My favorite part of wrestling is sometimes when you forget the logistics of booking. Of course, they're not going to take the title off Okada as he goes to face Takeshita. But for that brief moment, wow, this kid's got him. So I really, really love this match. I think having seen the pay-per-view, having seen him here, having seen him get his reps on Collision, I think we're in the start of that Tony Khan process of you're going to eat a lot of losses, but once I see you're in, I'm going to start booking you.
Yeah.
So I'm really hoping that's the direction we're going in with him. Okada is Okada. He can make anybody look good. This is one of those Okada matches that you know they could hit that next gear, but he didn't quite hit it, and that's fine because you need to say, like, if he has to hit that gear with Ace Austin, what the fuck does he have to do with Takeshita?
Yeah.
So I'm okay with how this was, where Ace is in the pecking order what Okada needed to bring to the dance. I think both looked great. And I think Okada's days are numbered as champion, personally.
Boy, I hope so, because we now have tickets to Double or Nothing, and I would love nothing more than to see Takeshita win that match. That's my point.
I could say I've seen Okada win 2 titles in person. I saw him win the IWGP against Jay White in Madison Square Garden, and I saw him become the unified champion, beating Kenny Omega at All In Texas. So I'm okay not getting the 3-peat here. Let Takeshita win.
That's rad. Yeah, we'll see what ends up happening. And I think Takeshita probably gets it, but we got time to see how all that ends up going. But yeah, great. I'm happy for Austin. I hope he gets or continues to get opportunities, and obviously gets more, and maybe he can hopefully start picking up some wins, especially if and when the Bang Bang Gang is healthy.
Yeah,
that would be very helpful.
Yeah, let's hit some of these comments.
Yep. Maria saying Ace Austin is her favorite X Division champion, not named AJ Styles.
That's high praise.
Yes, very high praise. Love to see it.
Hi, Derek. How are you, bud?
See Ace Austin and Juice facing Garcia and Yuta this Saturday on Collision. But he's also excited for the Dogs and the Death Riders teaming up again in that 10-man tag. Collision looks stacked, and I wish this is one of those things where I was on a bit of a roll watching it every week, and I was loving it, and I just fell off.
Yep. Saturdays are hard, bro.
They put on such good cards. But I wasn't even watching it live. I was watching it like Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah.
And it's worth it. So let's see. Okada is a go to the G1.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they call him the greatest tournament wrestler ever every year during the C2 for a reason. And Derek says, wrestlers I want Claudio to have a singles match with in AEW. It's a long list, but it looks like a very good one.
Let's do it. Myron
Reed.
Yes.
Yep.
Ace Austin? Yes. Speedball? Yes. And Helico? No, but that's because we here at the pod have plans for him to go somewhere else soon. But yes, that would be fun.
That'd be a good one.
To go, yes. Dalton Castle, I would love that from a technical standpoint. People sleep on how good a technical wrestler Dalton Castle is.
That sounds like a great Ring of Honor pay-per-view match.
Yes.
And I mean that in like you gotta have that in Ring of
Honor. El Clone, sure. Yeah, I mean
banger.
Bowens, let's see now.
Yeah.
Let's see now.
I'm pretty sure Clone and Claudio have interacted in some tag matches if you want to. I think when the Death Riders were feuding with the Don Callis family. So you could definitely get, maybe not a singles match, but you can definitely get a taste of it there.
Jake Doyle, I can only ingest so much meat.
And hopefully, Doyle gets healthy soon. I haven't heard any word on how he's doing, but hopefully everything went well with him and he can come back healthy and quickly. Jack
Perry, I feel like this had to have happened.
They've had to have interacted at least.
Right?
Yeah.
Shibata, yes.
Think that happened.
I think that happened too, but why not again?
Yeah.
And Hologram, yes. Although I would just like to see Hologram back. Apparently, it's going to be a while.
Yeah, another guy on the shelf, unfortunately. Whatever he did, he really messed him up.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you accidentally skipped Keith Lee or I skipped Keith Lee, but another guy, he's just not there. So I agree with you. Yeah, it's just, the odds of that are increasingly decreasing.
I think my brain was like, that was a defense mechanism. I didn't even see Keith's name on the list because my heart can't take it anymore.
Fair enough. Speaking of him, let's talk about one of his old tag team partners in one of the coolest video packages I've seen in a long time. So we get a single shot. The whole thing was single shot, which is great. The camera pans over a wanted sign for Bandito in the posters, kind of buried in the sand, and it pans up, and we're in the town where Bandito has had his past. It's pronounced vignettes, right?
Yes, vignettes.
Okay, I always put video package because I'm so terrified of saying
it. Thank you for that honesty.
Little insight into my production. So we're in that town, and eventually we move towards the porch in front of the saloon, and people start running out of the saloon. A man grabs a woman by the hand and pulls her away, and then we see a bloodied man tossed through the saloon doors. He starts running away as a figure steps in, and we only really see his black jeans, and it walks past, and eventually they go over and they reach down and grab the wanted poster and pick it up. And we follow the poster up to their face, and it's revealed to be Swerve Strickland.
Rev,
And then
I swear to you.
Sorry, the camera pans out a little bit, and we see Prince Nana, and he hands Strickland a blowtorch, and like the little one, the butane torch.
Yeah.
And then Swerve lights the wanted poster on fire right in the middle, starting at Bandito's face, and smiles and just tosses it on the floor. And James, holy fucking shit, this was so fucking cool.
This was so cool. And let me tell you right now, if this is just a feud with Bandito and the Ring of Honor title is not on the line, I am going to shit a brick.
Fair.
I have been clamoring for somebody worthy to come into Ring of Honor and take that title. And if it's not now Swerve, there's no reason to care. My money was on Hangman. My money was on Hangman because he can't go for the AEW World title. Make him the Ring of Honor champion. Boost the shit out of Ring of Honor with Hangman. Swerve is a healthy 1B to Hangman's 1A. So I'm all for it.
Yeah. They're saying that Blake Christian does have a shot at Bandito at the next Supercard of Honor.
I like Blake Christian. Yeah. I would throw him into the fire that Swerve just set to make sure Swerve wins the Ring of Honor title instead.
Yeah, fair enough. Good to see you, though, DRH. We appreciate it.
Thank Collision. You so much for coming. Always a pleasure when you show up.
Enjoy Collision. Enjoy New Japan.
And Dontaku coming up. All right, cool.
Very cool. Fernando saying, speaking of Keith Lee, would you guys consider him a huge flop or bust in wrestling? No. Maria did call him yesterday's news, but just because he is at the moment, because he's not wrestling, doesn't make him an overall flop. I think he had some great runs in NXT and before.
It depends. I think there's a lot of factors in how you answer that question. One, he's not failing. He's just not there, and it's because of health issues. Like, whether it's they're being overly cautious or whether there is legitimate, you can't bring him back because he won't live if he fucking wrestles. I can't call him a failure for not being there. I'll put it to you this way, and this is going to sound harsh because it's another guy who's on the shelf right now. Do we consider Adam Cole a failure because Adam Cole never won a WWE or AEW World Championship? No, Adam Cole is one of the most well-known, well-liked wrestlers of the modern era. And I'd say Keith Lee won all the things that Adam Cole won. NXT champion, North American champion, had memorable moments in the Royal Rumble, Survivor Series. He's a highlight reel of a guy. I would love to have Keith Lee back. But I don't think this is a matter of Keith Lee not showing up. I think this is a matter of we need to protect Keith Lee so we don't lose Keith Lee. And I'd rather him alive than in a ring.
Yeah, I will caveat that I still don't think we actually know what's going on with Keith Lee. A lot of what we know is speculation and rumor.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
I think we could confirm that it was a medical issue that took him out of the ring initially.
Right.
I think that is confirmed, not speculated. After that, no idea.
Yeah, we don't know why he's here. But yeah, I think on a grand scale, I do not consider him a failure. Maybe you want to say he didn't necessarily reach the peak that we thought he could. I think you could make that argument, but failure or a bust, no.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that. Fernando saying, though, that Swerve makes everything in AEW so much better. Yes.
Agreed.
You're also saying AEW should sign Dijak.
I will one-up you. Not only should they sign Dijak, and I'm shocked that they didn't, they should sign his tag team partner and have them run rampant in the tag team division, Baron Corbin. I am all in on Baron Corbin in AEW. We talk about it, like, we've been saying his name more and more in these AEW recaps. I am all for it.
Bishop, what was his name?
Dwyer.
Bishop Dwyer.
Yeah, something like that.
Bring him in. He's been on Ring of Honor TV. Put him on AEW TV. I'm all for it.
At minimum, I think he'd be a great Ring of Honor guy.
Yeah.
But
Put him in a group. Make him the muscle of the Dogs. Make him the muscle of Bang Bang Gang. There's a lot of spots you could slot him.
yeah, as we mentioned, the Dogs could be a good fit for him. We talked about that a couple of weeks ago.
Yep.
If they want to bring him in. Is Wardlow becoming the next Keith Lee?
Again, another injury.
Yeah, Wardlow has been injured a lot, which is unfortunate for him. But I think that's that's apples and, rabbits, because they're two completely different wrestlers. Wardlow hasn't been wrestling for nearly as long as Keith Lee did.
Yeah.
So it's hard to compare the two.
It's
And
also
yes, I know, Maria, you don't want Baron Corbin.
I'll keep bringing him up. I will also say I think Wardlow is a better performer than his booking has ever let on. I don't think he's ever been booked well enough to justify his his popularity surpasses anything that it should be, because Tony has not booked him well. As a singles champion, as a guy in a group, it's been disappointing to see him not get the booking he should have.
I think he was booked well when he was with MJ. With MJF.
At
But
the end, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But then nothing happened. He won the TNT title 2 or 3 times for nothing.
yeah, he was having that weird feud where it was like him, Hobbs, and Joe, I think
Yeah.
it was. And
Yep.
there were some good, meaty matches there. We saw one of them at Full
Yep.
Gear
Yep.
over in Jersey. But yeah, it wasn't like the big dominant run we were all kind of expecting. So
Bummer. True bummer.
all right, rolling through. Another dope thing I want to talk about: the Death Riders backstage.
I
promo.
am so conflicted. I have so many weird feelings here.
Okay, so I want to briefly recap what happened on Collision, which was what happened on Dynamite that we didn't get to see after the Death Riders literally carried Will to the back. And basically, after Beretta adjusted Will's neck, which, God, I could use one of those.
It scared me. It scared me.
Moxley did a whole soliloquy, but he basically made Ospreay an offer. You can train with us, and we will teach you to be the best version of yourself, incredibly cerebral and smart, and be the most dangerous weapon to ever, live in AEW. Or you could take this chair, and I will lay here, and you can, snap my neck in return, which is what you want. And then we see Will trying to pick, and he picks up the chair and he throws the cameraman out, and we don't know what happens.
Yep.
So then we come to this week, and we see that Moxley is there, so he's very clearly not dead. But what we do have is Daniel Garcia in the foreground as Marina Shafir and Wheeler Yuta are training behind him. And Garcia tells us that this is who they are and how they train, because you don't get to be the best out there until you're the best in here. And then Ospreay slowly walks through the curtain.
Well. Look who showed up.
And Moxley is happy. The happiest I think we've seen him in a while.
He's poking Pac in the tummy.
Yeah, he's giddy. He's he has arrived. And then he goes,
he looks at Wheeler Yuta and Danny, and he's like, finally someone I can train.
And then Mox asks Ospreay if he's been cleared. And Will says, no, but that's not going to stop me. And I want you to know that I'm going to Japan because me and the boys have a big title match, and I'm not going to let them down. The boys being United Empire. They have a big, I think 6-man tag or something like that.
I think it's for the never open weight titles.
Yeah. So awesome. Mox is like, loyalty. You are too good to be true. And then Ospreay and Pac have a moment where they just stare each other down, and that's when Mox breaks attention and starts poking Pac. Is like, ah, come on. So then Mox gets a little more serious and goes back to Ospreay. He's like, I need you to drop everything up here in your head that clouds your vision and makes you see things that aren't there. Everything in here in your heart that tugs and pulls at your heartstring. Everything in here in your gut all the anger that burns a hole in your stomach. Mox needs him to drop all of his excess baggage, including the hatred Ospreay has for Moxley, excuse me. Moxley won't promise miracles, but when he makes a commitment to something, he sees it all the way through. And all he asks for in return is the same. And Will agrees to that. And then Ospreay slowly steps into the Death Rider's den and, gets kind of face to face with the rest of them. And he turns around and he goes, "So where's the ring?" And Mox is like, "We don't use a ring. We are building you from the ground up." And unfortunately, the rest of this is proprietary, and he kicks the camera.
No. But you missed a very integral detail that made this go from really cool to just almost hilariously weird. Claudio just took his shirt off right in front of Ospreay, and they're like, "There is no ring, shirt off," circled by this group of guys, and Mox is like, "You guys can't see this. Bye." What? What?
It's proprietary.
I don't want to know the training Ospreay's going through now. If it makes him stronger, Godspeed, but I'm good.
All right. Genuinely, though, I was basically screaming last week at how much I wanted to know where this was going. What I saw on Collision I thought was awesome. And now we have this.
So
you said you were conflicted.
I am conflicted. So do you remember we put a pin in that thing before? I was just like, I would like to discuss something about the Death Riders, but I don't. We'll wait. So yes. I just read a report that supposedly, how we've all been expecting the Death Riders to turn on Mox, and it's not happening. It's not happening. Supposedly, that's because Mox himself has vetoed that happening.
Huh.
He's again, if this is to be true, if this report is to be believed, if it's true, he says that he feels that's very WWE to expect that to happen. So don't expect them to just betray him like that.
At least not anytime soon.
Yeah. I mean, even though that's exactly what they did to Brian, but anyway. Yeah. I'm interested here because as it pertains to Ospreay, it feels unnecessary. Like, you could argue, yes, maybe he's feeling some doubt because he couldn't beat Mox. He hasn't become the AEW World Champion. He's at a low point after injury, and he's doubting himself. But I love that the ops called this out later. Joe called it out later. He was like, "This feels like Stockholm Syndrome. They're the ones who did this to you. What are you doing?" And it doesn't really ring true to me. Ospreay, like, I'm conflicted because the idea of him being with them and rounding out even more is interesting. Like, we already consider him an A+ S tier wrestler. The concept here is if he joins the Death Riders, he's only going to get better. So that's exciting to think about in theory, but it's weird that he's like, "You know what? I couldn't beat him. I'm going to join him." Like, they're bad guys. They are, like, Mox isn't, but the others are actively bad guys. It's weird. I'm not opposed to it. I'm not like, "Oh, I don't like this. This doesn't work for me." I'm intrigued, and I'm going to keep watching with great interest. But I don't know if I want this to be a ruse a la Brian and the Wyatts.
It's the first thing I just thought of.
Right? I don't know if I want this to be a ruse or he does give it a go and then he's like, "This just isn't for me," and then everything ends amicably, or this leads to him fighting the Death Riders again. There's a lot here, and I don't know how to feel. I really don't. I know I don't dislike it. I know I'm into it. I know I'm intrigued by it, but I am nervous about how it progresses.
Moxley has said in the past that, you can't join until, he bleeds with you. They have bled. Yeah, exactly. And I think that's part of the reason why Moxley is kind of extending this olive branch, so to speak. I think since Will, has come back, I don't know why he attacked Will in the first place. They never really explained it. But since Will has come back, Will has had a personal vendetta. And Mox has been this entire time like, this ain't personal, kid. It's now this is business, and that's why he hasn't pulled the trigger on Will in the past. And now he actively saved him last week. So Mox has a thing for Ospreay, and I kind of get why, because he sees, like he said on that Collision thing, he sees a person who has every tool at his disposal. But A, he could still be better, and B, he acts too emotionally, and it makes a lot of rash decisions because of that. When if Ospreay could slow things down, both probably, in the ring and out of it, he could be, as Moxley said, the best weapon AEW has ever seen. So I get it from Moxley's point of view. Will's point of view, kayfabe, I'm having a little more difficulty deciding why.
Yeah.
Outside of kayfabe, rumors were that Will is going to start wrestling a different style because of his neck and back issues and try not to be as much of a high flyer. And this provides him the opportunity to switch it up in ring kayfabe wise as these guys train him, maybe even out of the ring as well.
Yeah.
But in kayfabe wise, that doesn't make sense. Now, maybe it's a going undercover situation like you mentioned with Brian. Maybe it's a thing where Ospreay goes through this like boot camp essentially. Hopefully he doesn't try to kill anybody in the process. And then the final boss is, the final test is he has to beat Mox.
Yeah.
And use what he has learned to beat him. So I don't know really what they're going for. Like you said, I am so intrigued by what's going on.
Yep.
And I do like, and we'll talk about it more later, Joe calling this out, the hypocrisy of it all.
Oh, yeah.
So Joe's one of the best at that. It's Joe and Kevin Owens.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It should also be noted, just for me, this group has changed a lot from when it first started. Not even counting the Blackpool Combat Club, just the Death Riders itself. We've seen Garcia successfully get added. We've seen Yuta join on board completely, not be a reluctant ally. He's totally on board, it seems. Mm-hmm. They failed in recruiting Statlander. So this group does feel rather fluid, which I think is an interesting concept for this group. Like sometimes you see groups and they're just locked in as what they are. Sometimes they'll add somebody just to even things out. But it's really the core group is the core group. This group has definitely shifted quite a bit, and I think it makes them more interesting.
Yeah, you always have Claudio, you always have Marina, you always have Mox, obviously. Yeah. And then Wheeler was, there in the beginning, but as you mentioned, he was a little more reluctant until he finally bought in.
Yeah.
Pac was a bit of a late ad.
Not really.
He was a Blackpool. I'm trying to remember if he was a Blackpool Combat Club guy or not, but he was gone for so long that he wasn't there when all of this started, and then he came in.
He was there when it started, specifically.
When they killed Brian?
Yes, he was in the ring for when they killed Brian.
Oh, wow. Memories that shot, eh?
Yeah, he joined. He was never a part of the Blackpool Combat Club, but he was with them.
Oh, right. That's when, you're right. Now I remember.
Yeah, he was with them. And then
he's just out so often. I just kind of forgot he was there.
I vividly remember him being in the ring when Brian had his celebration winning the world title.
Right, because there was a big "Why is Pac there?"
Yeah. And then Death Riders happened. He was gone for quite a bit, but yeah. So he's a day one Death Rider.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. So
he's
the
like
most
Batman.
fluid. The most fluid guy, I guess, then is Garcia.
Yeah.
If you're think about it. He's the newest addition. But he fits in so well with them, it's working. Perfect.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But I get what you're saying. They are recruiting when they think it's necessary or they think somebody would fit with them. So yeah, I'm not gonna say I like this just yet. But I am, to use your word, intrigued by it. And I'm really curious to see where it goes.
Me too.
And I'm willing to give it a chance, unlike everyone else, apparently.
Indeed, yeah.
Maria, the story with the Death Riders makes no sense. Fernando also saying this angle is stupid. What the fuck are we doing here? What terrible B movie did Moxley get this from? And if you're calling Rocky 3 a B movie, sir,
A terrible B movie.
a terrible B movie at that, you and I are going to have words. Both of them getting major Cena joining the Nexus storyline vibes here. That would be your department.
I mean, I'm a little conflicted on that because I get the concept of it, like the enemy joining them, but Cena was forced to join them. Like he lost, and then like he got like contractually he had to join them. Ospreay's just doing this because it's like he thinks it's gonna be his way to, I don't know, get bigger and better.
Yeah,
we haven't really heard his reasoning yet.
Exactly, and that's what I'm really waiting for here is to hear why he is doing this. And I'm assuming he would have to respond to Samoa Joe's questioning at some point about it. That would make a lot of sense. So we'll see. I mean, I think the obvious angle they go with here is his injuries and him realizing he can't get it done the way he used to because of his neck and his back. So.
Well, I do await the inevitable Renee interview where she's like, "Why would you join the Death Riders?" And it's like, "You married him. Like, why did you?"
Yeah, maybe let Lexi take care of that. Fernando taking another pot shot at Statlander, saying she would have bored them to death, the Death Riders to death. And Fernando also saying Joe is the voice of reason.
Yep.
Usually is. All right, next up, we had another match of one of the few non-title matches on this card. It was Copeland Cage versus Roppongi Vice.
I had a lot of fun with this match.
It was fun. There was quite a few shenanigans. Because especially in the beginning, because FTR was at ringside with Stokely on commentary.
Yep.
And then they got involved early when Cash distracted Christian when he had Trent up against the ring post in Trent and Rocky's corner. And then Christian went after Cash instead of Trent, and that allowed Trent to slam Cage's broken arm into the ring post. And then after that happened, because FTR wasn't next to Stokely anymore, the conglomeration kind of waltzed down to ringside next to the commentary desk with some popcorn, led by Orange. And Stokes saw them, and he decided to take a swipe at Orange, and Orange dodged it, and then just slammed the popcorn bucket over Stokely's head.
Did I miss something? Was this a collision thing? Like, why are they interacting?
I don't know, but it was funny.
Yeah.
FTR then came over to defend Stokely. Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong jumped in, and they started fighting them. And then the six of them, well, really the four of them, because Stokely wasn't putting up much of a fight against Orange, fought their way to the back through the crowd. Later in the match, after Cage used his brace to hit Trent, it was kind of like Trent was hanging over the apron, so the referee didn't really see it. Copeland came over and tried to hit a spear, but Trent jumped it, and Cope ran himself into the ropes. Beretta then rolled him up, and he put his feet on the ropes for the pin, but referee Rick Knox caught it and broke that up. Cope then sent Trent into the corner and charged at him, but the referee kind of got in the way, so that allowed Trent to get the boot up. And then Trent charged at Cope again, but Cope popped him up, and Christian, who had rolled into the ring behind them, speared Trent out of midair, and then Cope pinned him for the dub.
Is this the first time they've done it where Cope does the lift and Christian hits the spear? It's usually the other way.
I don't know. Honestly, I thought they were going for a shadow machine for a quick second.
No, but this is their tag finish now. This has been their tag finish for a little while.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll have to look into that. I had a lot of fun with it. What?
I said I like that they did that, though.
Yeah. It makes you wonder, because the reason I asked was, were they doing this for a storyline reason that Christian is afraid to, not afraid, but Christian can't lift somebody because of the fractured arm, so he could hit the spear instead?
Oh, maybe.
Or is it that they just want to establish it could be either of them who sets it up? I think that's a good thing to establish as well.
Yeah. I would think it's the latter. That'd be my guess, but
yeah.
Oh, sorry. Do you want to
Please,
talk about what happened
no,
after?
You go.
Okay, so after the match, Christian went over to the timekeeper's area, grabbed a chair and a mic, and brought them back to the ring where he broke the crossbar off of the chair and handed it to Copeland. Cope then used it to put the crossface in on Trent with the bar in his mouth, while Christian asked him if he knew what to say, until Trent eventually kind of mumbled, "I quit," through the crossbar, and Christian made him say it a bunch until Copeland took the thing out of his mouth and put him back in the crossface, and then you could actually verbally hear Trent say, "I quit." And then Cope and Cage celebrated, and Cage told Trent that he never would have quit and called him a little bitch. And then the two grabbed the tag titles and started walking around with them a little bit, just having a good time. Copeland went over and grabbed Orange's popcorn bucket and put it on his head as well. And then Knox eventually took the tag titles back from them, and Cope actually chased him there for a second. I think he was just fucking with him until they went to the back. But whatever, they're just some fun shenanigans from Cope and Christian. But yeah, James, it was a fun match. I liked it. The after stuff, just trying to put a little emphasis on the I quit stuff, but it was good. It was fun. And I think it was Fernando in the comments here saying the stuff with the trios champs was fun too.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. Sometimes it's fun to just have, despite the bigger feud here between Cope and Christian and FTR, sometimes it's just nice to have a low stakes match that goes a little bit, Yeah. Like this was a 2-segment match. It worked. I was happy to see RPG Vice actually have a real match on Dynamite. I like, again, I don't understand why the conglomeration got involved, but it was cool to see like all this interacting. Go ahead.
Fernando saying they had a backstage incident on Collision.
All right, thank you. I appreciate it, Fernando. I appreciate it.
Sir. This is why we should watch.
Yeah, I enjoyed this quite a bit. I just love tag team wrestling sometimes, and sometimes, unless it's for the titles, you don't just really see tag team matches happen unless there's like a big storyline reason for tag team matches to happen. Yeah. So this was just fun. This was just fun for me. I will say, as hype as I was for all of that, Cope using the chair for that crossface gave me real WWE flashbacks when he was doing it to Seth all the time. and he did it to Roman too, I think.
I think he's done it to Mox here in AEW.
I think he did. Move. Now that you say it, yeah. I don't know why. It gives me the ick.
Which means he's done it to all 3 of the Shield members.
Yep. I don't know why, but just it reminded me of his WWE run, which I was not the biggest fan of. Just
the second one.
Oh yeah. His post-retirement return one.
Yeah.
Just gave me bad feelings, Captain. Bad feelings. But yeah, this was fun. I'm glad that there seems to be so much action in the tag division.
Yeah, it's a good thing. And there are people hurting people too, so keep an eye out for that.
They hurt people.
Even though they lost on Saturday. But that was Jericho's fault. We'll get to him in a minute. Fernando with another long-winded question here. Well, for us. What is Orange Cassidy's ceiling in AEW? My short answer is going to be at the very top of it. It would be the Mick Foley title run. I don't think he'll get there.
I
don't know. I want him to. I'm not entirely sure he will. But I don't want to say his peak was that international title run, but it's going to be difficult, I think, to get much higher than what it was there.
I think he's capable of having a let's see how this Darby run ends. But I wouldn't be shocked if he has a Darby-like title reign at some point. I agree. Like his international title reign, if it is the peak of his career, he should be proud because it was one of the best fighting champion stories I think we've ever seen.
And funniest.
I'm
so tired, Renee.
I'm so tired, Renee. I know, buddy. I know. Great title reign. I would love for him to get the AEW title because I think he deserves it. I think he's a great worker. I think he has put his blood, heart, soul, tears, sweat into AEW, and dedication like that should be rewarded. I think he has one brief time off in AEW from an injury, and that was it.
Yeah, it was the one he just came back from.
Yeah, I think he's been one of the most consistent AEW talents of all time. And I do think it's cool to have different guys, different types of guys win the world title. I think it's cool that you have somebody like Swerve, also like Joe, like Mox, like Brian, like Kenny, like all of those are vastly different characters, vastly different work rates, vastly different abilities, vastly different everything. So if I can accept all of them, I can't imagine why I can't accept Orange Cassidy as AEW champion, even if it's not a long reign.
Yeah, I hope he gets it too. It's so crowded up there, and I feel like there's already a backlog.
Yeah,
but I would like to see him get it. Back to the tag division. AEW has a stacked tag division, according to Fernando. They just won't showcase it to Grizzled Young Veterans, Outrunners, Private Party. Where they at?
Well, all right. Grizzled Young Vets are in Ring of Honor. Outrunners are primarily Ring of Honor. They're 6-man tagging with Dalton Castle.
Yep.
And Mark Quinn is hurt again. So that's why Private Party is not on TV.
That sucks. Also, you got to be careful with the phrase 6-man tagging at Dalton Castle. All right. As I mentioned, we have some stuff with Chris Jericho as he was getting interviewed backstage by Renee, who brought up the fact that Ricochet has now beaten Jericho twice with the Rico Salt, and then asked Jericho if there's any validity to to Ricochet's claims that the Rico Salt is better than the Lion Salt. Jericho says that he believes that imitation is the best form of flattery, but he doesn't feel particularly flattered right now. He's actually pretty pissed off. He also then says it appears that Ricochet has followed his career pretty closely, but he clearly hasn't followed it closely enough. And as Jericho finishes up that thought, he gets blindsided by Toa Leona, who are then followed closely by the rest of the band, who just beat the shit out of him. And then GOA holds him down with Ricochet yelling in his face, telling him that this is what was going to happen if he didn't leave, asking Jericho if this is what he wanted from his big return. Jericho tells him to eat shit, bald, and that sets Ricochet off. And Ricochet has GOA throw Jericho into a road case, and they leave, with Ricochet staying behind to tell Jericho that he isn't worth it. So you had that.
No, go ahead.
I'll say real quick, because this has been a topic of contention, the whole bald thing. Apparently, this is an old SNL bit that Jericho is doing, Subliminal Man. And
it's not that subliminal.
I know, but apparently that's the bit.
Okay.
So I was trying to figure out what that was from. The internet has provided. So if you're questioning why he's doing this, that's why.
To go off something you said last week, where you asked, is this like a Tourette's thing?
Yeah.
Let's say it is. We can charge Ricochet with a hate crime. He's beating up a disabled person.
Interesting.
I think we should look into pursuing it. That's all I'm saying.
Noted. We haven't had a good arrests segment in AEW. It feels like, if ever.
Yeah.
I think maybe Moxley got arrested once, I think. Yeah, remember Moxley with the whole 4GT and Jericho and shit? Yeah, I think Moxley got booked for that. But that was Daly's place, maybe even pandemic days, so.
Wow.
Long time. We had to get creative back then. All right. Following this, we had the last title match we have to talk about, which was the Divine Dominion, Megan Bayne and Lena Kross, defending their tag titles against the undefeated pair of Okada, Shida, and Kris Statlander. So this started in a very interesting way because Shida began the match, and she wasn't really getting in much offense, but eventually she fought back and got back into her corner where she went to grab her kendo stick. However, Statlander grabbed it as well and prevented Shida from going anywhere with it. And then the two were arguing and kind of doing a little bit of a tug of war with it until Statlander saw Bayne gearing up to sprint across the ring. And as she did so, Stat used the stick to pull Shida out of the way. And Bayne sprinted straight into the ring post and then got caught up between the ropes in the corner. So then Stat has Shida tag her in, and the two are continuing to argue. And Shida just kind of goes, fuck this, kicks Statlander in the midsection and suplexes her into the corner and Bayne.
Yep.
And then gets out of the ring. And the whole crowd reacted as if this was a quick heel turn, but the match kept going. And Bayne it backfired. Bayne picked up Statlander and brought her all the way across back to, that corner and tagged Kross in, and the two just put a hurting on Stat.
Yep.
So that was weird.
Yeah.
Okay. So to jump to the end, towards the end of this match, Stat hit a 450 onto both women stacked on top of each other.
It was a good 450 too.
Stat has a really good one. I don't think she's hit in a while.
Yeah, that was the sharpness of those turns were something to see.
Yeah, we finally some water in the pool there for Statlander. So then Stat then backed Stat pinned Kross, and then Kross ended up kicking out. So then Stat backed Kross into the corner where Shida blind tagged in, much to the surprise of Statlander. Shida then hit a Meteora and then a Falcon Arrow, but Kross was able to kick out of that. And then Shida light up for the Katana, but Bayne came in as she saw Kross was about to get her shit wrecked, and she came in and just blindsided Shida. Statlander tried to come in, but at this point, Bayne and Kross were just cleaning house. They threw Statlander out of the ring, and they just dismantled Shida. They hit her with the big boot suplex combination, and then hit the double choke slam for the win.
Yeah.
So this match was weird. I don't know. I didn't think it was bad. Maria's calling it terrible. I didn't think it was terrible because it wasn't poorly wrestled. The storytelling was just kind of weird. That thing with Shida was weird. I mean, very clearly, Shida doesn't trust Statlander or perhaps even like her. So, where is this all going? Because we didn't really get anything from it afterwards. We just went right to the next segment. So, just very, very strange. I'm not really sure what to make of this, James.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on it. I agree that it was just such a weird thing to see the match go on after that for as long as it did. Because why would she tag back in?
Yeah, after the suplex you're talking about.
Yeah. I don't want to go as far as Maria to say this was a terrible match. I don't think it was terrible. I think it was fine. I think it was a good match that got muddied by a weird story going on. And I don't know why they're being so weird about Shida just turning heel. Just do it. Just do it. Nobody's gonna say no. We're excited for it. So don't muddy it by making it a story that all of us are going to be like, well, okay, whatever.
I mean, even the whole face in English and heel in Japanese thing was pretty cool, but just the whole, I don't know, the interactions with Stat have always been kind of weird. But let's say Stat's just ignorant to the whole fact that Shida's always talking shit when she's talking Japanese, even though Mina has explicitly told her otherwise. Why in God's blue earth is she sticking around after what happened tonight?
Yeah,
Shida literally hit her with a move in the middle of the match the beginning, that changed the momentum right as Statlander tagged in. And then, I would change the momentum. At least minimum kept it on the side of the Divine Dominion.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the match, you could make an argument Shida costs them the match because, she not only lost, but Stat was on a bit of a roll there.
Yeah.
So why is Stat sticking around? I don't get it.
I'm sure we're going to get an explanation. Even if it's something as simple as I didn't stay with a friend before and I regretted it, and I don't want that to happen again here. I can accept that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I've long maintained I don't understand how Tony books Stat. I feel like he just burns her momentum so often. So I'm in, I'm watching, it's not really working for me. And I love everybody here. I love Shida, I love Stat, not that they're anything to do with the story, but I love Divine Dominion. So I wish this match did more for me. I think it was fine, but the story definitely needs to either pick up and move faster or a pivot.
Yeah, at least on the side of Stat and Shida, because
Yeah.
Divine Dominion are doing great.
Yeah, they're not about this. This was a match.
They're having exactly. Because they're having a dominant tag team title run. Their promos when they get them are good. They're mostly backstage stuff, but I think that's smart because they're not the best in ring promos. So Tony's good at protecting people that way.
Or at least Bayne isn't. We don't really know. I don't really know about Kross.
Yeah, that's fair. From what I've heard, she's been good, but again, backstage stuff.
Yeah.
This has nothing to do with them. This just had to do with they got caught up in this weird and currently poorly planned out story.
Or even if it was well planned out, poorly executed.
Yeah, fair enough. Maria, though, really wants a heel turn. I'm assuming this is for Shida. I am conflicted.
We've talked about this. Being a heel doesn't mean we got to stop cheering them.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I just, you like to see your favorites be baby faces, I guess.
Yeah. No,
that being said, as somebody who is a huge Becky Lynch fan, I was so disappointed in that heel turn, and then everyone just rejected it, and it worked. So, and now we have, we've gotten the man, and now we have this version of Becky, so it works. Even though I miss, steampunk Bex, but you gotta evolve. And then that and a swift punch to the nose, and we have the man, and it worked out great. And I almost like
Nia Jax.
Yeah, I almost like the man better, but
yeah,
and it helped her, win the double titles at WrestleMania. So I'm not going to complain. All right, digressing. After that, we went backstage with Andrade El Idolo and that carny piece of shit Don Callis for an interview. And
but how you know?
Renee attempts to ask Andrade about the tear he's been on, but she immediately gets interrupted by MJF, who dismisses the idea of him being on a tear, saying Andrade has ruined this company, and thanks to him, Darby Allin is on a reign of terror. Andrade hits him with the... Come on, you just said it 5 times. You're not going to say it now.
I didn't see you say it. How do you know?
And Max says he knows because Darby's the world champion. Andrade hits him again with the...
But how do you know?
And MJF says it's because Don told him that Andrade lost. Andrade hits him again.
But how do you know?
Max says because he saw it with his own 2 eyes. And Andrade says it one more time.
But how do you know?
Literally just laughing in MJF's face. And MJF shows him. Don quickly breaks that up, saying that Andrade is his money man. And then MJF is the money man, which gets a bit of a look from Andrade.
Yep.
And then Don tells Andrade that MJF doesn't have a belt right now, so he doesn't need to fight him at the moment. And then he tells MJF that he needs to focus on getting his belt back because the company is better when he's on top. He has to take it all focused on business for the moment, and MJF agrees to this, and he walks away. And then Andrade walks away as well, and Don jokes with Renee. It's like, wild horses, they're going to run, right? And Renee's like, sure, Don, and then he leaves. Follow that, we got a nice little squash match for Roosh here. He against Steven Fuerte, and Roosh jumped Fuerte like right as the bell rang, just laid him out.
He tried to shake his hand. Fuerte really did. He was like, put her there, pal. And then Roosh put her there, pal.
Yep. So Roosh then beat the piss out of him on the outside, brought him back into the ring, tossed him in the corner, beat him up there some more, and then when the referee pulled him off, he went over and hit the horns to pick up the win. Well, at least Roosh didn't have to sell in that match, so it was probably fun for him.
Yeah.
And then after the match, Roosh grabbed the mic. I believe he called out all the bitches. I thought he said in todo el mundo, which would be in all the world. I was assuming he just meant in AEW, unless he was talking about the world title. I didn't get all of it.
Yeah.
But he did say, if you mess with the Bulls, you get the horns. So maybe this was one of those I'm calling out my shot for the AEW Championship promos. Maybe it wasn't. I didn't. I need to bone up on my Spanish, but
it certainly feels like they are building up something with him because, again, he's another one who had a good showing at the pay-per-view. And now he's getting another good showing here. Like, this was a squash match. This was a jobber squash match.
Yeah.
So you only do that if you're building the guy up to do something, whether it's to challenge for the world title, get into something bigger, like another story that's bigger than what he's been doing. We'll see. I'm always so weird about him because he feels like a weird dude. But Real question for you. Is there a North American wrestler that's stiffer than Roosh?
Ooh. I would have to really think about it.
Like, I'm not going to include the Japanese guys just because strong style is its own
Yeah,
thing.
well, yeah, you said North American. Hanger's he's pretty stiff.
Yeah. I don't know. I think Roosh just lays it in.
Yeah, sometimes I'm curious, like, is it stiff or is he just hitting you?
Yeah. Like, it feels like these guys owe him money.
Yeah, he's snug to say the least.
Yeah.
Maria saying justice for Beast Mortos. Love that. He's so good. Trust me.
Yeah.
You don't have to preach to the choir on when it comes to Beast Mortos Esquire. But I do think Roosh, to build up your point here, he's not only now getting the squash match here on Dynamite, he got a good showing at the pay-per-view. He is another Collision Cowboy, and he kills it over there with LFI, Beast Mortos included. So whatever they're building him towards, they always keep him very strong. So whenever they have to, like, legit put him in something, he's there. He's built. He's good to go. You can heat him up in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Maria also threw in, let's move the story along. I don't know if this was in reference to Roosh or the Andrade MJF thing. Either way, you're right. All right, last couple of things to clean up here. We have the Ops interview backstage that we talked about a little bit. I'll just briefly run through it. Renee asked Joe what the game plan was moving forward now that he's back in the ring. Joe says that the plan is to reassert their dominance in AEW. They plan to do that with men like Shibata, the newly minted Anthony Bowens, someone who he says we will now see the best of in AEW. And it also includes Sook, who will become the new king of television when he wins the TNT Championship on Collision. Because, Knight has to now go defend that title again after hurting his knee. So we'll see how he shows up on Wednesday. And then as we talked about, Joe called out Ospreay, saying he hopes Will doesn't have Stockholm Syndrome, as the Death Riders had him in the same position they had him in not too long ago. But the last time it was the Ops who came to save him. So the question is, does Will want to go with them or the guys who had his backs in the Ops? The choice, Joe says, is Will's.
He's going to end up with the Elite.
Elite. Break it down. We then came back for commercial for the last segment for the main event, which was FTR and Big Stoke backstage. And Stokely says that he just came from Tony Khan's office and he has a proposition for the conglomeration. He offers up a double Jeopardy match between Orange Cassidy and Dax Harwood. If Orange wins, he and another member, it's late, of the conglomeration get a shot at the tag titles. If Dax wins, they get a shot at the trios titles. And as much as he knows that Orange and everybody wants to see him step into the ring, Stokely has a different partner in mind. And in steps Tommaso Ciampa, who says that the last time they teamed together, he took Mark Briscoe and put him on the shelf indefinitely. So this time, they're going to take the trios championships, and then he's the one who says top guys out.
Do you remember when Ciampa debuted, and then like a week or two later, FTR was like, join us. He was
Thrive.
Like, and he was like, nah, I'm not going to join you. I don't even like you guys. And now, top guys out. Come on. It's not even, I think it's been maybe a month.
Yeah.
Between those interactions.
I found this a little weird. Maria asking, are we going to get new trios champions? I don't think so.
Yeah, I'd be surprised. Just because I don't see FTR carrying those belts at the moment. That's not to say FTR can't, and maybe Ciampa down the road can't win the belts, but I think we are too close to All In to have them carrying two sets of belts when they're probably going to have a big title match.
Well, they're going to have one at Double or Nothing, and then they're probably going to have one at All In. I don't know who they could possibly end up facing at Forbidden Door as well. Let's not forget that was announced.
I mean, we're operating under the assumption we're getting a major match at All In.
Yeah.
TLC or CLT. Maybe. And if we are, I can't imagine FTR going into that match with a different set of belts. Like,
Yeah.
even if Cope and Christian win it in New York, which is possible, likely even. I just don't see them carrying another set of belts into that match. But I don't know.
I would agree, especially because you would think you would want those titles defended at All In. So
Yeah.
I would find it
who knows? They are the trios titles.
true, but I would find it interesting. I would find it weird even if they held those titles. Even with Ciampa, it still feels kind of weird. They're just they're not
admittedly,
trios guys. They're tag guys. Like
you say that, but like they loved being part of FTR KO. They loved being with Randy.
Yeah, that's true.
And I feel like there was another instance of them being with a third guy, but I don't remember who it was.
Cope.
No. Somebody, maybe it was Cope. I was thinking somebody else because it felt more long term, but I guess they were with Cope for a good amount of time.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember when they came up who they ended up sticking FTR with, or if they just came up by themselves. I thought they were with somebody, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I don't think they were with like Owens or anyone like that. So, all right. Yeah, that was Dynamite. As we said, James, really, I thought there was some really good wrestling tonight.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Outside of maybe the bookends of the show, we didn't move too much further forward with a lot of stuff. Some story progression was made. We're kind of setting up some stuff for Double or Nothing, but nothing too crazy, especially considering the last 2 weeks what we've had. Still, I still think the majority of the night was some damn fine wrestling.
Yeah, no, I personally was very happy with Ace Austin versus Okada. I enjoyed seeing the women's tag match, even though they got to clean that up. The Death Rider storyline is enthralling right now. So I think AEW is getting a lot right in a lot of different departments. So I thought this was a good episode. I agree, not everything felt super progressive story-wise, but we have about a month until the pay-per-view. So they don't need to be rushing things right now.
Yeah, and not every episode is going to be an absolute banger like we've been getting the last couple of weeks. And I think Tony was maybe capitalizing on some momentum he was getting coming out of the disappointments from a different company and was probably putting on some really insane shows. And now we've kind of, gotten back to a little bit of level.
Yeah.
And if level is going to be a show like this, where we got 5, good to great matches,
4 title matches too.
Yeah, and 4 title matches. I'm going to take that every week.
Yep,
Yeah,
I agree.
I saw somebody say this felt a lot like a collision. It was a little more wrestling.
I mean, there were a lot of collision guys too.
Yeah, and there was a lot more wrestling, and while some stuff was forwarded, it wasn't a whole lot, And I kind of see what they're saying and can kind of agree with that. So, yeah, Maria calling it a 6 out of 10. I might even go, 7.
Yeah.
I think, 7, maybe 7.
I'd go 7. I enjoyed tonight. It tonight.
It's just, like I said, you're not always going to get the highs, high highs. This was, it was good. It was really good, but it wasn't great.
Yeah.
And that's going to happen when you have a weekly show.
Yeah. That is the truth.
All right. On that note, I would like to thank everyone so much for watching us here at the Market Down Podcast. We'd appreciate it if you like and subscribe. If you like the video, let us know you're enjoying what we're doing here tonight. We again apologize for being late because of the technical difficulties. Legitimately not on our end.
Yeah, this was technical difficulties, software.
Yes, it was beyond our control there. So we do apologize. We'll do our best to get on time. Be on time next time. And if you subscribe, you can see next time. Get all the great stuff here on the channel. We will be here next week again for Dynamite. Got the Gym Pack Zone on Thursdays for TNA fans. We cover as many pay-per-views as possible, whether it's AEW, WWE, New Japan, Ring of Honor, TNA, whatever we are able to watch and cover, we do so. And we sometimes do Raw or SmackDown when something really big happens. It's usually Matt's domain, so keep an eye out for those.
Yeah.
If you want to check us out on some social media stuff, You're watching here on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Blue Sky. Those links are in the description below. If you're watching on Twitter or Facebook and you want to check us out in some other places, Twitter is at marketdown_pod. Instagram is at marketdownpod. YouTube.com /at marketdownpod or /marketdown3665. Blue Sky is marketdownpod.bsky.social. That's my domain. Come kick it with me. Or just search Market Down Podcast on any of your social media platforms, and you should be able to find us. And if not, let us know. We can, hop on there, make an account, and kick it with you over there. James, anything else before we get out of here?
I mean, you guys can expect to see us at Double or Nothing.
Yep.
In about a month's time. That's going to be fun. We're figuring out if we're going to be going to House of Glory. So hopefully we'll have a very busy weekend that weekend with you guys. Just check us out. We are covering everything, like Rev said, and it's been a lot of wrestling, a lot of good wrestling. I will see you guys tomorrow night for TNA, and
Maria will be there.
yeah, thank you, Maria. Can't wait. Everywhere seems to be doing pretty solid, at the very least solid. Yeah. WWE with Raw has been, feels like in an upswing post-Mania. I can't say much about SmackDown right now, unfortunately. TNA seems to be, it's stabilizing. It was a little rocky for a little bit. Nothing's wowing me right now, but it's stabilizing. So good times.
Yeah. Wrestling in general, I think, has been on an upswing for a while. And even, AEW kind of dipped a bit last year, but WWE was a little bit high. And now I think we're kind of going the other way. But that's okay. The wrestling is good. You just got to find it. And That's that. All right. Cheers to Don Stoney. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. You know what? Thank you. Feel better, dude.
Yeah. Hope you're doing all right, man.
Yep. All right. And for that, that's James Asante. My name is Nick Cummings. Thank you so much for watching us here at the Market Down Podcast. Have a good one, everyone.